And the stupid autocorrect thing too.
I know.
It gets me every time.
Yeah. Let's see. Listen here, Mr. Autocorrect. When I'm texting my friends, I'm telling you right now, I'm never, ever, ever actually using the word ducking. I just want to put it out there. Just put it out there.
And most of the time, not shot either.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not using those words. Okay.
Autocorrect is such a ducking shot.
Ducking
It's
shot show.
It's a ducking piece of shot.
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
All right, man. So we just got done doing something new for the podcast.
Big deal,
But
too.
yeah, it took a little bit of work and a little bit of technical frustration this morning, but we got it figured out. We kicked off Glimpse. It's a way for people to support us, sponsor us is what they call them on there. Is a way. We've got a lot of people that said they were really enjoying the podcast and wanted to show support in more ways. And also, to be fairly honest, we've put a lot of money into all the equipment and everything that goes on to make this podcast what it is. And, it's kind of nice to recoup some of that. So, so what we wanted to do was we didn't want to just ask for people's money. We wanted to give them something special. And that's what we created on Glimpse. It's tell them about the experience.
So it's really cool because right before we start these podcasts, there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into setting everything up. And we figured let's set up an environment to where they can hang out with us. So we went and got some different mics, wireless mics.
Yeah, that was cool. Wireless walking around the set.
Yeah, walking around the whole entire set and joking with the people on camera and being able, they can type back. So there's like a chat feature to it. So it was basically a live stream on Glimpse where they got to hang out with us while we set everything up. We even disclosed what we were going to be recording today.
Yeah, kind of got some feedback on some of the topics that we're going to talk about while we record.
It was neat. It was neat. It was a lot of fun, and it was really cool to see. And honestly, I really enjoyed that. Okay, we'll move your mic a little bit. You're kind of breathing into the mic. Okay, we'll check that.
We're not used to wearing like body worn microphones. Right.
Yeah. So it was very different. And like you said, there were some technical issues in the beginning, but you work through that stuff. And so next time we do this, and now we plan on doing this every time we record. We record typically every 2 weeks, and we record 2 podcasts. And we plan on doing this from now on. Always doing a pre-show of what we do. So if you want to be a part of that, we'd love you to be a part of it. Come check it out over on Glimpse and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Come hang out with us. It's a lot of laughs. And I'm a ham, so obviously I'm being pretty goofy
making
during
faces,
it.
And I'm trying to get under his skin. And
I may or may not have punched you once.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a bruise from that. But yeah, if you're wondering, obviously we'll put a link in the descriptions and stuff. But it's glimpse.me/Imp And Skizz is where you can go. And we only have one supporter tier there to make it easy. You get in that. You get into a Discord as well. Been very very social in that Discord. A lot of people. There's like channels for food and pets and stuff that people post, and all sorts of fun stuff that make me hungry and and then I want to post pictures of my own pets and stuff. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's just a way to support the show if you've enjoyed it and you have the means. Yeah. So it's out there for you, and we like doing this little pre-show and hanging out. It was a unique experience, and
that's what I want to fixate on is the fact that it's the experience. It's coming and hanging out during those pre-shows and being a part of Discord, and that to me, that's the magic of sort of reaching across this long band of internet and time and all that, and joining us in a more cozy fashion.
cozy, not intimate. Yeah, you get to see all of our wires and gear and stuff too. It's like what you guys see right here is the clean view, but we pull the camera back even further so you can see all the devices and wires and plugs and everything that we have. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, kind of cool to see what goes into setting up this kind of a podcast, and it is a lot. It is a lot. We spend a lot of time doing it. So, but we love doing it. Yeah. And here we are. Episode 36. I'm gonna take a stab at this. Hopefully, we're at least in the general ballpark this time. Right. Last time we tried to guess what episode we were on.
I'm pretty sure it's 36.
Completely off. Yeah. But so yeah, here we are, and we do have a topic for today. It's not just to tell you guys about this new Glimpse
we got
thing.
something. This is gonna be a fun one. You want to go ahead and bring us into it?
Sure. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about pet peeves, but I don't want this to be like a downer where we just complain about things the whole time. And also it's not going to be exactly like the come on man vibe that we had in that podcast where we talked about all the people that are just rude, right? These are pet peeves to me, are things that like strike a nerve specifically within ourselves that maybe don't strike that same nerve in other people, right? So it's kind of like oh, I hate it when so and so does that, and that's not a typically normal thing that like everybody in the world hates, you know what I mean? It's just for whatever reason irks you more than it should.
Well, there will be a certain degree of crossover with the come on man, but you're absolutely right, is that this is a very different energy. There's just a little crossover. That's all there is. So so here, let me tell you a little bit about my journey of the pet peeves thing. So typically when we know what we're going to be, discussing for whatever podcast, I think about it the day before, and I'll take some mental notes, and I'll just kind of get my thoughts right on the types of things that I want to go into. And we come in and we riff, and it's a lot of fun. This was one where I was like, okay, well, let me think. And I made a list of my pet peeves, if you will. And I came up with like 3 items. I'm like, dude, nothing, I guess just not a lot bothers me. And I'm like, that can't be right. So then I Googled pet peeves just to see if any of them rang true with me. And it turns out, wow, a lot of things bother me. I needed to see
so
it.
You have a long list now.
I do. I have a long list. And I kind of felt like, I don't know, it was kind of a humbling moment, because when I realized at first, when I thought I had very few pet peeves, I'm like, I'm really easygoing. And then I realized, no, I got a laundry list. I got some things that really, really irk me. So I
do too. I did the same thing. I made a list, and
got it on my phone.
I actually, a lot of times I will be talking to my wife the night before the podcast, and I kind of say, hey, this is what the topic's going to be tomorrow. What are your thoughts? And she usually helps me. And so I think what she did was the same thing you did. Like, she went to Google, and then she was like looking, and then she was like, oh, you hate it when this, right? And so I was like, okay, you're right. Yeah, I took a few of those things. But the one that I didn't need her help with is, and this is one that's been ever since my really young childhood, is getting blamed for something that I didn't do.
Yeah.
For some reason, that one, woo. I remember, and I don't want to get into specific stories too much on this one, because my parents watch this podcast, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus about any specific situation that may have happened decades ago. Yeah. So I'll keep it general. But there was a time when I got blamed for something, and it was something like really, really small. It was the dumbest little thing, but for some reason it just put me over the edge. And I don't know if I had anger management issues back then or what, but I remember this one little thing that I got blamed for. Like, I went into my room and I like tore my room apart. I was like so mad that I like tore my room apart, like throwing toys everywhere and ripping up my bed and also, like it, and that's why this one stuck to me. I was like, wow, something happened that struck a nerve so hard that I like went overboard.
Wow,
man.
And
I mean, I was young. I was probably like 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. You know what I mean? So didn't really have the maturity to deal with anger, at the time. But I remember it was that. And then throughout my life, like multiple things have happened to where I've been blamed for something that I didn't do. And it, I don't tear up my house or anything anymore. Luckily, I kind of got control of that. But like, but those kind of things were obviously striking a really hard nerve for me, to the point that where I tore up my bedroom.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I see now after this, I'm going to find out what it was. I got to find out what you got blamed for.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like my parents were, like it was like they didn't do anything wrong. It was just like they accused me of like not doing something that I was supposed to do when I knew I did it. Something like that. It was like, you know what I mean? It was something, it was totally mundane, not a big deal. But what I did afterwards, the way I reacted to it, was a big deal. You know what I mean?
Sounds like the injustice is what really got to you, was the injustice of it. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not going to go too into detail because it's not one of my pet peeves or whatever, but I had a moment of injustice when I was younger where I did my chores and my brother didn't do his. And so I had to do his chores. I had to do my older brother's chores. And I was like, but hold on for a second. I did my chores. You know what I mean? I was like, I did mine. It's not my problem that he didn't do his. And it was just one of those moments where my parents were just like, I'm too tired for justice. Just do it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that energy.
No, I do. We had the same thing happen. I'll throw my sister under the bus, no problem, apparently. Sorry, sis. So when it came to doing dishes, my sister wasn't the best dishwasher in the world. She'd leave, spots and food and stuff on the plate and maybe not wash the soap all the way off and that kind of thing. And it got to the point to where my parents were like over it, you know, like she was basically wasting water. And so they're just like, you're out. And they're like, Impulse, you're going to do the dishes from now on.
You're hired.
Yeah. And so I was like, what? But I did them, you know, like that's what you did. You know, that's what
amazing.
You did. You know? Yeah.
Okay. This is a quick one. One of my key ones. Don't snap at me.
Oh,
I
gosh.
don't like that.
I found this out the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, not the hard way, but like I did it to you and you were just like livid. And I was like, what? And it's a snap. Snap means like with your fingers, like.
Oh yeah, not verbally.
Yeah,
exactly. I meant quite. Actually, don't snap at me verbally either. Like, yeah, don't do that. But but when people like do this, like I can't. It's become a joke at this point. And I've been like this my whole life, and I don't know where it started. But somebody did it to me once, like to work do something faster, and in that moment I'm all, I don't know what you just did, but I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's like I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I know it's hard too being your friend because like I know that's your thing, you know.
Yeah.
And also I am like very impatient, and so like a lot of times I want things to move faster, and I have to stop myself from being like, "Come on, dude, can we just go?" You know?
I'm not slow though. I'm always moving. You know.
No, it's just like everything, everything in life. Just, like even setting up for the podcast this morning, like felt slow. Like everything to me just feels like it should be faster.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah. And so I'm always wanting to just snap my fingers and make time go faster. And I have to remind myself, don't do that around Skizz because he will explode.
I know. All right, you go.
Okay. Next one. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of in the same realm as what we were just talking about. I have an issue when people are late. You know what I mean? Like if it's just me that's waiting, it's not as bad. But when there's a lot of people waiting and somebody's late and they just wasted a whole bunch of people's time, like it really gets under my skin. Just because I know how valuable time is. You know, we've had the podcast before about the value of time.
Oh yeah.
And so whenever somebody's late, and you gotta judge this on a case by case. But if they're late because their car broke down, that's one thing. If they're late because they spent extra time doing their hair and makeup or whatever, like that's when I'm just like, come on, like plan better. You know, time management is the thing. So yeah, and then if there's multiple people involved, it's like every minute that somebody's late, I'm doing the math. Well, there's 10 people here, so they just wasted 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so yeah, that gets me.
Yeah. And I'm with you. That actually bugs me too. But for me, the thing that you're late or on time for also matters, right?
True. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's very situational.
Yeah. But there's times where it matters.
Yeah. Like
what are you doing?
If you and Mrs. Skizz are late to come over and watch a football game, so what? Like, who actually missed out? You did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's been times where in the past where there's even we got to catch a plane. You know what I mean? Like, or something to that effect, or something to where it's like there's a hard clock against us, and we let's go. You know, like you said, plan better.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm gonna say people who just need to be right just for the sake of being right. You know what I mean? Like this is a weird one because I've talked about this before that being right and doing the right thing are two, they have nothing to do with each other. And I think that a lot of people don't understand how to distinguish between the two. And I know I've discussed this before, but just in general, where let's say somebody's telling a story and they're telling a story to a group of people, and there's a tiny bit of the story, like a tiny detail that they were incorrect on. And it's just as inconsequential as it can possibly be to the story itself.
Dude, you are speaking my language.
You see what I'm saying?
I didn't put this on my list, but holy cow, it needs to be.
You know what I'm talking?
I know where you're going with this. Keep going.
Yeah, it's like they messed up one little detail that, like I said, is completely irrelevant to whatever story they're telling. Somebody's like, actually, and they do this thing. And I remember when I realized I had a problem with this is when I was very, very young. I had to do a book report, and I had to read this book. I don't remember what grade this was in. I was really little, and I read this book, and I think the book I read was like Rising Sun or something, Michael Crichton's Rising Sun. This is a long time ago. And there was in the book, there was a character, there was a liaison in the character, right? It's basically a liaison. It's like a go-between, right? It's a connection between two people or two organizations. That's a liaison. Well, I didn't never seen this word before. So when I was reading the book and I finished the whole book, my brain was calling it liaison. Right. So I, like I said, I was like 5th grade or something like that. And I was calling it liaison. I'm like, what is this word? And I remember looking it up and being like, oh, that's what it is. So now I know what it is, but I wasn't like saying it right. It's liaison. So I read the whole book like that. Now I got to give my book report, a verbal book report, and I'm doing it and I'm doing my thing and I'm doing a very good job. And I'm saying liaison. And I don't think anybody in the class knew what the correct pronunciation was, except for one idiot who I wish I could punch in the face to this day. He's all, excuse me. It's pronounced liaison. And I'm all right, thank you for that. Dude, after the class, I had like 5 people come up to me and they're like, that guy sucks, dude. It was so funny, man. So I think a lot of people share that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That happens all the time, too. Oh, man. All right. This one gets me. This is not a big one, but it is one that gets to me. People that talk during movies.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like,
God. Oh, God.
I'm just like... It happens all the time too.
Oh.
I have young kids, so my youngest anyway. I'm going to throw her under the bus now. I'm just throwing everybody under the bus. My whole family's getting thrown under the bus today. My youngest is really bad at this. Like she'll want to watch a movie so bad, and then we turn it on, and like 5 minutes in, she's suddenly not even paying attention to the movie and telling us a story about something that happened at school that day. And after after about 10 seconds, I just grab the remote and pause the movie.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to continue this movie until you're done talking, because why did we put the movie on to begin with if you just wanted to tell stories about your day?
When I Googled pet peeves, that was on the list. People who don't pause to tell a story during movies or during TV, or people don't pause the TV to tell a story. That was I didn't add it to my list, but I saw it on the list. I'm like, yeah, I guess that would be annoying.
Yeah, well, I'm capable of doing that too. Like, my son is kind of a shy kid, you know that, and sometimes he'll come out of his room like once in a blue moon, and he'll be excited about something that happened at school or whatever. He's getting ready to go to ASU, so he's applying for financial aid and getting his dorm set up and all that kind of stuff. And so he comes and he'll come out and start talking, and I'll be watching a movie or TV or whatever, and he's talking, and I'm kind of trying to do both. And then eventually my wife will just like nudge me and just be like, can you pause the thing? Like, your son is actually talking to us. How about you listen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, pause it. I'm the same. I do. The second, one of my family members walks in, obviously it's just me and my wife, but when my daughter's home for the summer or if my son's over, they start talking, I pause. I don't pause because I'm like, I pause because I want to listen. I want to listen to what they have to say, and also when it's done, I want to go back to what I'm watching and enjoy that. Imagine back in the days when you couldn't pause TV.
I couldn't live like that.
We muted and we just missed the show.
I just missed it.
Yeah.
That must have been hard. Like if you were really into something, you know what I mean? I'd be like, just later, please. Hold that thought.
Yeah, I know. Just give me a second.
Put a pin in that, please.
This is like the climax of just shut up for a second. All right. So here's another one. I'm going to actually do 2 back to back because they're so similar. Let's see. How can I say this nicely? I'm not gonna. I don't know. Revving your car, like or a motorcycle. I understand sometimes there's a functional purpose to it, like you got to get it warmed up or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the people who love to rev their cars or their motorcycles at like gas stations and stuff, like just or
as they're passing like a restaurant with a patio full of people.
Yes, dude.
That's the big one.
Yes, that's that, and also like, especially in parking lots and especially inappropriate music, blasting your music to a level that's like, what are you doing? Like, I'll go to get gas, whatever, and if I can hear your music, I'm fine with that. I don't care. But when you come in and it's like, it's very important to you that everybody knows how much money you spent on your speaker system, and you have every window down and you're blasting, and as you're fueling up, your music just keeps on playing. And then on top of that, sometimes it's extremely inappropriate music. Yeah. It's like, dude, we get it. I see you, man. We did a going deep with this like years ago where I was like, I notice you. I know you're here. The world knows you're here. You don't have to keep reminding us. Yeah. It's so annoying. It's such a like, it's not even, I mean, they think it's a flex, but it's not. It's just super annoying to me.
Yeah. No, I think most people would agree. That's, especially like in places where there's going to be like young kids and stuff. Like a gas station, there's going to be kids, And if they're blasting music with bad words and stuff, that's not great.
Yeah.
No.
Agreed.
Oh man. Okay. This is gonna come as no shock to anybody. I don't like surprises. And the kind of surprises I'm mainly talking about are ones that mess up my schedule.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, because you know me, I like have my schedule and I try to live by it and make sure that, you know, if I don't follow that schedule, like I don't get everything done, and that it irritates me. And so the one thing that usually happens is like, okay, so my wife's parents live here. They've, you know, when they retired, they moved here, and you know, to be closer to kids and stuff. And but they're retired, which means they're bored, you know. And so when you're bored, you just do things like to stay busy. And so a lot of times they'll just come over with very little warning. They just come over, or will like just stop by and, hey, you want to go to lunch? And it's like, it happens all the time. They just like show up, and I'm like, was this? And so then I get mad at my wife. I'm like, why didn't you tell me your parents are coming? She's like, I didn't know either.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I had plans for today, you know. Yeah. And now, you know, obviously family first. So I'm gonna change my plans and go to have lunch with them. But it's like, can we in the future like plan things a weekend ahead at least, so I can schedule this? You know.
You know, that's fair. But so I'm not trying to say don't have that pet peeve.
No, this is a pet peeve. Yeah. That's why that's the difference between pet peeves and people being jerks or whatever is like, this irritates me in a way it shouldn't.
Yeah, but it's almost like I don't know if it's the right phrase, but it's almost like a cultural difference, right? To where popping in's okay, and if popping in is okay, then should also be on the table is rejection, right? So I've seen that in my own life, because there'll be times where it's not like that where they just pop over, but there's times where family is like, listen, later today, like it's a Saturday, and at 12 we're all meeting at this place, and my brain's like, that's a 45-minute drive. If I do this, I just lost an hour and a half. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and this is not it. This day's plan is jam-packed, and I respond, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to make it. You know what I mean? And it sucks, but it's one of those things to where when the culture invites these pop-ins, then rejection has to be on the table. Like that's just my opinion. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Boundaries is a thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like you got to have your boundaries. But yeah, I mean, the main thing that gets to me is just like, I have my life planned, not my life, but my week or my day planned. And it's just like, you know me, it's like, it's very hard for me when some kind of wrench gets thrown into it. I'm not like super flexible.
Well, I'm going to tell you, like, yeah, disruptors have the potential to really derail you. But boy, over the years, you've evolved in a very big way.
Gotten better.
And I think you found yourself in a space to where you had to evolve because these wrenches were going to keep flying, especially in this type of business. I mean, look what happened this morning, right? We were doing our first ever glimpse, and we were super pumped, and we ran into some technical issues, and we were like 30 minutes late to start that stream. That was killing both of us. I mean, think about the fact. I mean, we talked about people being late to stuff.
Yeah, and then it was us.
Yeah, and then it was us.
Yeah,
and we were late.
Everybody that was excited about this, and then we told them we'd be live at a certain time, and then we weren't.
It didn't
like,
matter.
Oh my gosh, like they're wondering why they did this. You know, I felt bad. I definitely felt bad.
Me too.
But stuff happens. Like I don't think anybody was to blame. I think it turned out to be some kind of like software issue with my new laptop.
It was just like, fighting over a source.
Yeah,
or whatever.
It was weird. It was like I'm talking to the people with Glimpse, and they're like, everything looks fine on our side. Are you sure it's not you? And I was like, well, let me go try another computer. And then that computer worked, and I'm like, I guess it's me.
Yeah.
You know, it's their specific device. You know.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it was. But you were able to pivot and try, and it was irking you because we were running late, but you never threw in the towel. You know what I mean? And in the past, when I have to throw things at you, I'm like, dude, I'm leaving again. I'm traveling. We get, and it disrupts your schedule. You get on board and we fix it. But
you've conditioned me.
Maybe I have. I'm good for you. But okay, so people popping in on you like that, you think that's bad? That's nothing.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't have a better one, but that is my next one. One-uppers. People, you know what I mean?
I get it.
I think we talked about this. I saw this comedian one time who talked about, he said, so I'm telling a joke to my friends. I get through the whole thing, or not joke. He said, I'm telling a story to my friends. I get through the whole thing. It may have been Brian Regan. And he's like, and somebody says, you think that's bad? That's nothing. And I just want to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, everybody, to waste your time like that. I didn't know we had the Messiah of problems. You go right ahead. Like, that's how I feel. Like people who just feel so compelled to listen to other people, wait for them to finish and be like, okay, that's nothing. That's nothing. Everybody look at me now. It's like, would you just chill out?
That is a huge sign of insecurity. I think. That they can't just let that person have their moment the whole time they were thinking about how can I make this about me?
Yeah, that could be
right?
That, yeah.
Right. Okay, I say that. Let's continue with this theme of throwing our friends and family under the bus.
Your theme. It's not my theme.
Because what came to mind, and it is a bit of a joke. It is a joke. It's a joke, so don't take this seriously. But so this space that we're in is a guest house / studio. We've dual purposed it, and as it was getting built, my neighbor, good friend of ours, McBean, had a reason himself to build a guest house in his backyard, and so obviously was wanting to know like how we did it, who we used, how'd we come up with the floor plan, all this stuff, and so we gave him all that information. And then he decided to make it like 6 square feet bigger.
I love it.
just cracks me up. Probably because he did actually need the 6 feet, but
I'm sure it is.
But it did very much feel like a one-upper experience,
Could have been. Who knows?
And you had that this morning too. Like you came over and I got a new laptop so that we could power that Glimpse pre-podcast stream, right?
Yeah.
From the same room without having to run wires to another room or something crazy. So I got a new laptop, and you're like, "What are the specs on it?" And I was just like, "It's pretty good. I don't want to talk about it, because I didn't want you to feel you just got an amazing. laptop.
I got a beast of a laptop, and the moment you looked at it, I said, "You're going to get one, aren't you?" You're like, "I have to now."
Yeah,
and you're like, "I have to get a better one now." The same thing happened when I had a better iPhone than you for like 20 minutes. It was just your world was rocked, like you couldn't stand it. It was so funny. But that's just a thing. I don't know. I like what your neighbor did because he's a good friend of ours. And I remember when he said he was going to build a guest house, I'm like, you got to make it bigger. Like just for fun. Just
another that was you, like we had on the last one where you told Martin not to let me win.
Oh,
it was your fault that he one-upped me.
So actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. I went and watched his footage. And
because I said at the end of the podcast, I said like I couldn't bring myself to go watch his
so
footage
what we're
to
talking
see
about,
if he had done so what
we're talking about is that you had done a Mario Kart stream with Martin and who else was
a whole bunch of people.
And it happened to be on your birthday, and so I told Martin, I said, "Listen, today's his birthday. Don't let him win." He's like, "Oh, I'm on it," and so that's why he didn't want it. And then you were about to. It was the last race. You were about to win. You were feet from the line.
Yeah.
And it was a game. There's nothing that was going to stop you from getting first place, and then the game just disconnects.
Yeah.
And I watched his POV on it, so it kind of felt like because he was the host, so it kind of felt like he
hosted
killed
the whole
it.
match, and I thought he like killed the session.
Yeah.
Seeing that I was about to get first, I thought maybe he had killed the session on purpose, which disconnected us all.
So I watched his POV on that, and it does look like a legit coincidence. But what's crazy is he played it off like he was he was stuck in the wall. He was probably going to get last place. He couldn't get out of the wall. And then all of a sudden it just kills it. And he goes, as soon as it dies, he's like, if I'm not going to win, I'm killing the connection. Like he just went with the joke.
Yeah.
Right. But there was like, hold on. And then he talked more about it. He's like, no, I did not kill that session. It was a coincidence. He's just very quick witted. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he made a joke out. It was really funny.
I won. I won that race.
You won. All right, you go.
Okay. This one's probably because of my recent experience with all the contractors it took to build this guest house and into my backyard, but I don't really like being lied to, and this came to mind when all these contractors and I know there's going to be people in the contracting realm that are going to hear this and be like, "Come on, dude, you don't know what it's like."
Of course,
with that business, but I felt like there was it happened over and over again with different contractors where they would tell me this is the way it's going to go down.
Yeah.
These people are showing up on Monday. These people are showing up on Tuesday. We're going to get this done. Oh, don't worry. We're going to have this done well before Christmas. So you can have your Christmas get together at your house. Everything will be done. We have plenty of time. In fact, we'll probably finish by Thanksgiving, and then they didn't finish by like Easter. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they were still working on it. I still have my landscapers working on stuff. It's just like, yes, I get it. Like there's like rain happens, and slows things down. But to me, it really felt like they were just telling me what I wanted to hear.
That's right.
And just lying through their teeth about what they were actually going to deliver.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to also put myself in their situation, but I also know that I'm just getting taken advantage of.
When you are off by a day or two, that's okay. When you're off by a week, things happen. When you're off by several months, what it means is you had no actual real investment in the time that you quoted them. That's what that means. It means that you, like you said, I'm just saying words to make you smile for this brief moment. Yeah. And then once we're past the point of no return and you can't go anywhere, I'm just going to do what I need to do. I'm with you on that. I really am. That's just you're such a liar. Just tell, you know what I mean? Like, don't lie to me to get my business. And now I got my foot caught in a bear trap. Just tell me what I'm dealing with here. Yeah. Like, and I'm with you. I do this now when I speak with vendors on certain things I need. I'm a very, very nice, very cordial guy. And I talk about what needs, I have, and then they tell me what, and I can just sort of read between the lines. And I'm like, can you do this? Like a feature, can you do this? And they're like, yeah, that's something that, and I'm like, no, can you do it or not? I just need to know. I don't care if it's something that's coming. I don't care if it's something you guys have talked about today. If I purchase this product, can it do this? This is a yes or no. Like, this is how deliberate I have to get with them, because I need to put them in a space to where if they say yes and it can't do that thing, they're going to remember this moment and we're going to have a very different conversation. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, you can't like leave wiggle room out there. It's weird. I'm with you. It's frustrating.
Yeah. It's just that it happened over and over and over again. And then, so I had the first contractors that came and they built this place and they did a great job. But again, it was the same thing, just a constant like, oh, this will happen this day, and then it didn't, and then it was months later and whatever. But like then the yard people came, the landscaping people came, and then it was the same story. But when we met with them, like they were like, they asked me like, what was your experience with with the people that built the guest house? And so I told them my things. I was like, look, they would never warn me when somebody was coming. So like I have a dog, and like random people just come in my backyard at times I weren't expecting them. Like, that's not good. Yeah. Like, my dog's not violent, but it's not good. Like I don't know, what she's going to do if somebody comes in the backyard and like approaches her. And so I was like, I need to know, when people are coming, who's coming, what they're going to be doing, how long they're going to be here and all that kind of stuff. Right. I'm not asking for that much. And I didn't feel like. And the guy was like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. You'll know exactly. I'll tell you every week exactly who's coming, what day, blah, blah, blah. Didn't happen at all. Not even once. Wow. Not even once.
Wow, dude.
I was like, so just every day, like people would just show up and I'm like, I wonder what that guy's going to do. I'm glad my dog's not out there, and sometimes they did. They'd come out there and my dog would be barking at him. And luckily, like she would just bark and then back off. We come out and let her come in and then lock her in the house or whatever. But it was like, come on. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like a little freaking communication goes a long way.
Free plug here for my pool company. The company that does my pool, this is Puddle Jumper.
Yeah, I have the same one.
You have the same one. Yeah. They are amazing, because when I signed up with them, I said, I'll pay extra if I need to. And I said, but if you guys could text me when you're like 20 minutes out, there's a lot I have to do to get my dogs locked inside and open the gate. Like I have I live in a different environment. I have one dog of my 5 I'm worried about. All the others would just probably bark at you until they got bored, and then they would want you to pet them. But there's one dog I'm worried about. And so I got to get him inside and lock him up or whatever. Dude, they're batting 1,000. Like this company, awesome. They text me every time.
And they've had different techs.
Exactly. That's impressive. The guy that comes
and actually cleans the pool, like that person has changed. Over the past couple of years, like 3 or 4 times, and they still, even the new guys, would make.
So they have some sort of note system or whatever, and I'm just like, so. And here's the deal: they have held up their end of the bargain way better than I've held up mine. There's been probably 3 or maybe 4 occasions to where I just got so busy with work. I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, he texted me 30 minutes ago. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, I'm so sorry. Are you still around? If not, I'll take care of it this week. And sometimes it turns into that. And they've been cool every time. But that's very impressive.
So if you don't text back, they just don't. Then they don't come because they know it's not safe.
If I don't text back and 20 minutes have gone by, they text again. They're like, "Am I able to service your pool today?" And I've seen that message. I'm like, dude, I'm the worst. So now it's gotten to a point to where I mean that hasn't happened in a long time, because and I apologize profusely in those moments. But it's I'm impressed. I mean I'm impressed with them. You know what I mean? So free plug for Puddle Jumper.
Puddle Jumper.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah, they I know they service. We're in the Phoenix metropolitan area, the East Valley, right? Southeast Valley. Anyway, I don't know how far they go, but yeah, they're great. I've been with them for years now.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And I had to put them on pause because we had our pool redone, and so the pool was empty for the longest time. And then the second the pool was back up and running, I had the guy come back out, and then he came out, and I was like, So they redid all the pool equipment. I don't know what anything does. And the guy's like, well, let's take a look at it. And he was super cool. And so he like kind of like looked at it all and he's like, okay, I think I see what's going on. This is going to power this is the pump for the fountain. This is the pump for the jets. And he walked me through it. And he's like, open the panel. And he's like, here's what this panel does. And he like, so the guy taught me what the pool company that put the stuff in didn't.
Yeah.
And he was doing it on the fly. And I was like, okay, all right, good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
Very good.
Anyway, that was off topic, but it was fun.
It was who's up?
Oh, I think that stemmed from being lied to because we were talking about contractors.
Oh, very good.
So that was me.
All right. Here's one. I have a huge pet peeve when people like mistreat low-level employees, like at fast food joints or whatever, or even just any situation where it's like, I'm the customer, you're the employee, so I'm going to treat you like crap. I don't like that. I don't like that. It makes me, it's a massive pet peeve for me to where like, in those moments, I like to like treat them overly well with the crappy person witnessing it. And what I'll do often is I will be, really, really sarcastic, like in passive aggressive. Like I want them to hear, I'm literally complimenting you on the very thing that they were just ripping you apart about. And I'm doing it loud. I want them to know I'm mocking them right now. You know what I mean? Because it's just so rude. It makes me so upset. And not to mention, 99% of the time you're bitching about something that they have no control over, you know? And here's an example. This is not an example of somebody having done something wrong. This is an example of me behaving in what I think was a good way and where a lot of people wouldn't have. So I need to get a refill of a D vitamin for my daughter, right? We get the refill, we ship it to her in New York, and she ran out. So we got to get more. And we couldn't quite figure out, like, can we just get it refilled, or do we have to call the doctor? Do they have to do a prescription? What is this? So I said, I'm just going to call CVS. I'm just going to call the pharmacy, and I'm just going to do it that way. So I call, and it goes right to an automated system. And one of the options is to do prescription refill. I'm like, oh, sweet. So I go into that and ask for all my daughter's information. So I'm just plugging everything in. It's able to locate her. It's able to locate the prescription I need. And this is all through the automated system. And I'm very impressed with it. I'm like, keep going, keep going. It said, if you wish to refill, push this button. I'm like, I wish to refill. Okay, your prescription is being refilled. You can pick it up on Monday. And that gave me the date. I'm like, okay, excellent. And if you're done, you can hang up now. Woo-hoo. All right, so then Monday I'll get a text, and Monday goes, no text. Tuesday, no text. I'm like, I'm starting to think that didn't go through or whatever. Wednesday, no text. Thursday, which was yesterday, all right, fine, I'm going in. I'll go do it. I go into CVS yesterday, and I give the whole story I just gave you. And the guy looks me up, and he's like a younger kid, but he looks up the whole thing. He's like, yeah, we don't have a prescription for you. And now my brain's like, you know what I mean? I'm like very upset about this, but this dude has nothing to do with it. Nothing. And I said, okay. I said, well, I used your now, but at the same time, I want to give them the information of your automated system is lacking logic to be able to tell which kinds of prescriptions are eligible for refill without a doctor's order. Mm-hmm. Like there's obviously something in the database marks these prescriptions as to whether or not you're eligible or not. And, so he was trying to make it work for me. And so I told him, I said, well, I did it through the automated system, and it told me to pick it up Monday. And I said, so if it's not there, I understand, but whatever I need to do now to get it going. So he tried to push it through, and then he got in trouble because he was trying to like breach the system. And so like a pharmacist came over, like, no, you can't do that. They need a doctor's, the doctor has to prescribe it. And so then I jumped in. I said, oh, I did this through the automated system. I wanted the pharmacist to know now too. I said, I did this through the automated system. It didn't take. And I said, and that's totally fine. I just need to get it moving. And they said, well, it needs a doctor's prescription. They said, we can fax the doctor. I said, that'd be great. Thank you. You know what I mean? And I thanked both of them for the help. My brain's like, do you know how many people would have been like, nope, I did this online. Yeah. Like this kid wrote the program. It was obviously some headquarters, and they didn't think it through. That's what it was. You know, and I was just like, there's just so many instances where people just mistreat people because it didn't go their way. And it's just for the sake of expelling this garbage. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, you remember we worked in a call center at Discover Card.
Maybe that's where this came from.
Back when we were very young in college trying to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. And we ended up working, it was for, Discover Card, credit card services. And we were like, got all the calls of the people who felt their bills were incorrect. And they would just yell at us. Oh man. And I remember I would go home, and I was still living with my parents, and I would tell my mom, my mom was like very happy I got this job because it required me to like wear a tie and stuff. And they had like health insurance,
Yeah,
you
it's like a
know,
real job.
and it was actually like paying a decent amount per hour.
Yeah.
And so she was very proud of me for having this like kind of a good job. And I'd come home and I would tell her like what I had to deal with all day long, you know, like call after call of people just yelling at me for something I had zero involvement in.
Yeah.
You know, and you want me to solve your problem. I get that, but I'm not the reason you have the problem. I'm here to help you solve it. You think you would maybe like
Be a little
butter me
kinder.
up a little bit so I can solve it
or
faster.
just be a human.
Yeah.
Just be a human. So yeah. Because like you said, we worked. I remember I was talking to one customer and she was just going off, and I'm like looking at her account and I'm doing all that, and she's going on. And the thing that she's upset about is a policy that, like you said, I have nothing to do, nothing. And she's like, and she says that she wants this rectified, and if this doesn't get rectified, I'm going to cancel my account. And I said, all right. And she goes, and that's not a threat, that's a promise. And I went, okay. Like that was my response, you know, like, I laughed at her. I'm like, I couldn't possibly care less.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's at the point to where if I could help you, I'm not sure I would, you know, like you suck. You go.
All right. So yeah, this is a good one. This is widespread problem, I think. When people assume the worst in others. So, you know, it's like, and this happens in social media, I think a lot, you know, because people just assume they know somebody or they know their intent. But I think there's a lot of this out there where like you do something and, you know, there's a lot of virtue signaling and stuff happening too. That's part of this. But like people will look for what was bad about what you said or what you did. And they're just assuming that you had a malintent in what that action was to begin with. When I try to look at people and their actions in a more positive light and be like, okay, well, maybe it came across bad, but I don't think they actually meant it to.
Right.
And maybe like, I have no idea, you know, like what's actually going on, you know? And so I think it's just, for me, when I see that, cause it happens to me a lot, you know, I'll say something and then I get attacked for it. And I'm like, you're attacking me because you think I'm a bad person or something? Like, do you think this came from a place of me wanting to hurt somebody with words or something like that? Like, I'm not like that. I'm not going to try to be mean, you know, like, and so I get that a lot. And there's when it happens, I'm just like, come on, like, why can't we start with assuming the best in people and then move from there? It's like the opposite way that people tend to gravitate towards.
Well, and not to dive too much into it, but I fear that the culture is shifting into the wrong direction, where we found ourselves off the notion that you are innocent until proven guilty, and it's flipped. It's flipped to where you're guilty until proven innocent. And I don't know where that came from. Like, I don't know when or how that happened, but I'm with you on that. People are, I don't know, this could be a whole podcast in its own right, but I think the types of people you're talking about who are just looking for things to be wrong are generally just lonely, sad, pathetic people. They're just looking for there to be problems. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. Like, I'm gonna comb every syllable of what this person's saying, and I'm gonna find out how can I bury him. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's a lonely existence. And unfortunately, there's enough people latching on to that energy that you are now officially guilty until proven innocent. And sometimes it's a little thing that you did, and then they just latch onto it, and then they just really got the wrong impression, but they just wrote it home. And other times it's nothing you did.
Yeah.
And by nothing, I mean, you just wake up, you're like, what is this now? What am I being for? You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't even, you have the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just, here we are now because you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. No, it happens a lot, you know, with social media, and you're right. This could be a pretty heavy, other.
Yeah. I think it's a totally different podcast in its own right.
But yeah, I mean, like one little clip of something somebody does starts getting spread, and people assume they understand that person's entire intent.
I know your whole life. I know all of your intentions from birth until now because of this 2-second
I know
clip.
your religious, political.
I know every
standing that you have because of this one little clip that got spread and it was taken out of context to begin with. So I see that. I see that happen a lot, and it's hard too, because especially when the medium is text only.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's really easy to misinterpret.
That's people. A really good point, man. We might be doing the same thing right now. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Is that they're like, I got 2 seconds of you, 2 seconds. I know everything about you, and everything that I disagree with now makes me hate you. Okay, well, maybe I'm being unfair to think that they're that absolute. Maybe they don't actually feel that. Maybe maybe what they said or replied back to whatever those 2 seconds were, maybe they didn't intend it that way.
Yeah.
We got to reinvent what it is to communicate.
Yeah, no, it's definitely getting harder. And yeah, the more ways to communicate that mankind has invented, you know, and it's been skyrocketing over the past couple of decades, is now put us in a place where we no longer know how to communicate well.
Right. You're not wrong, dude. Think about like handwritten notes back in the day, right? It wasn't like texting today, because today's about speed, right? But back then, I mean, they would dip the pen in the ink, and they come back, and every word
get time to think about your words.
Yes, and every word was scrutinized and like in their own mind before they wrote it down. And what they were trying to convey was not just information; it was emotion. They wanted to make sure every syllable was correct. People don't do that anymore.
No, now we're finding ways to make 5 words, 5 letters. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And if your thumbs aren't smoking as you're texting, then you're not going fast enough. You know, there's no time to think about what you're writing.
Yeah.
And the stupid autocorrect thing too.
I know.
It gets me every time.
Yeah. Let's see. Listen here, Mr. Autocorrect. When I'm texting my friends, I'm telling you right now, I'm never, ever, ever actually using the word ducking. I just want to put it out there. Let me just put it out there.
And most of the time, not shot either.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not using those words. Okay.
Autocorrect is such a ducking shot.
Ducking shot show.
It's a ducking piece of shot.
Sometimes it's helpful, but sometimes it just messes things up.
Oh man!
All right, here's another one. This is something that this is a real pet peeve, and because I don't think it bothers everybody. When I'm at a restaurant, I hate it when there's a group that is somehow convinced themselves they are the only people in the restaurant, and they are just like.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I want everybody to be happy and have a good time, but there's if you're laughing, that's great. But you know what's happening when all 8 of you are belly laughing to a level to where the entire restaurant is consumed in that volume coming just from that table. That's you broadcasting. We're the only ones here. You're not the only ones here. It's like 50 other people here. You know what I mean?
They're the only ones there that matter.
Yeah. We're the only ones here that matter.
That's what they're broadcasting.
And we're such a big group, and we're having so much fun that it's completely okay that we're disrupting all of your guys' experience with your loved ones. Mm-hmm. You know, that is
I'm with you on that, man. Yeah. I mean, that's an easy one. Not much more to say about that. Everybody, I think, can relate to that.
Yep.
All right. This is my last one, actually. But I think I did kind of save my probably second biggest pet peeve for last. I think I started with my biggest one. Lack of situational awareness. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and mark that off my list because I agree.
So that's in right in line with what you just said. Like that group of people, they lack the situational awareness to realize they're not the only ones in the building. One of the main reasons why I hate going to the grocery store
we talked about this.
Yeah, because nobody has less lack of situational awareness than shoppers at a grocery store.
Yep.
And I don't think it's everybody. I don't want to talk in absolute, but I mean, it just happened. Me and my wife, we ran in. It's one of those things where we only had to run in for a couple things. You know what I mean? And so we didn't even grab a basket. Like we were just going to grab stuff with our hands, get in, get out. And so we check out. And there's a lady in front of us going out the door with her cart full of groceries or whatever. And she stops. You know, the doorways at the sliding glass doors, like they're big enough that multiple people should be able to fit through. But she somehow positioned herself right in the middle of that doorway in a way that like us without carts couldn't even get by her.
Yeah.
And she just stopped and started like looking at her receipt to make sure everything got checked out or whatever. And I'm like... Out of all the places you could have stopped, and then you managed to block the entire door. So we're just standing there.
Yeah.
And finally, we just like, you know what? We're going to go out the entrance. You know, they have 2. They have the inside and then the out. Yeah. Entrance and out. what's it? Exit. Yeah. Here, 50 minutes in, we've already done a hour-long pre-recording stream, and
it's
now
entrance and the entrance.
The entrance, entrance, and the extrance. Anyway, so she blocked the exit, and we were just like, forget it. We'll go out the entrance. And we had less problem going out the entrance than we did. Anyway, I was like, come on. Like, seriously.
It makes me want to kick their carts over.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
But I don't. What I do in those, and I also don't go, I'll just say.
You excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go,
excuse me. Do you realize you're in the
no,
way?
I don't say that. I say, actually.
Dummy.
I say.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
Smack him.
Yeah, I just added post-editing work for you.
No, I'll say, I'm going to squeeze by you. That's what I say. I'm going to squeeze right by you over here. And I would say 98% of the time they go, oh, I'm sorry. And they move because, and I'll be honest, I've not been that person, but there's been times where I'm like in the way. And because my awareness was lacking in that moment, for the most part, I'm always looking around me. Yeah. But there's times when I'm like, I'm sorry. And I'll even say, I just became the person I hate. And now they walk away laughing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I do it to a fault in a way. Like when we're shopping, like I'm just like constantly like trying to get out of people's way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we talked about this before, but
we have 100% we have.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of things you said, like the people in the gas station with the radio blasting, lack of situational awareness, you know, the people that are being loud and boisterous and cussing. And then you look over and there's like a family with little kids right there. It's like lack of situational awareness. Like it just happens all the time. And smokers that are smoking when there's a group of people right there that are obviously not smokers, you know what I mean? They just lack that situational awareness. Like go away a little bit. Like that. Don't you understand? Secondhand smoke is a thing, and a lot of people hate the smell. Yeah, you know. Yeah. Like for me, it actually like it impacts me pretty hard. Like when I'm around a smoker or whatever. Like that night, I can't breathe for the rest of the night. It just like kills me. I have an allergy or something to it. Anyway, but yeah, lack of situational awareness. I was just like. Oh my gosh. When that lady stopped, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. Okay, here's one, because I travel a lot, is airport and airplane etiquette. And what I mean by that is like gate crashers. When it's it's not your boarding time yet, but you're still like the people who it is their time to board, whatever group they're in a higher group than you because they checked in earlier or whatever. Get out of the way. You know what I mean? Like you're just like there, like waiting for your group and you're blocking people who are supposed to be getting in from getting in. And I don't want to go, like there's times I want to just grab their phones and be like, nope, you're in the wrong group. You know what I mean? And just because I get so frustrated. But we've just been doing it so much that when it's our time to board and there's a big like glob of people in front of us, just blocking everything, we just push past them. Like, you know what I mean? Just I'm coming through now. Like, I don't know why you have to stand here. Move. Yeah. And then same thing with the airplane. When it's time to board and you're on, go to your seat, put your thing in the overhead, and then sit down. Yeah. Why have you been standing there for 5 minutes fiddling with your clothes and your belt and your pillows, blocking the entire lane? There's 100 people trying to get on this plane, and they're just waiting. Like the line goes back all the way into the airport, and they're just waiting for you. Move it. You know what I mean? Like it just makes me crazy. And then when the plane lands, the second it lands and you hear that ding, stand up. What are you standing up for?
Yeah, it's like everybody. I'm like, why bother? And then you're like, you can't even stand up all the way, so you're kind of like ducked under the thing, and then you're just standing like at this awkward thing the whole time, and it's like, why? You know, you're not getting off for another 30 minutes, right? Yeah. Oh, dude, like so the airport thing. There's got to be a reason why they do it the way they do it, but to me. I'm like, this is wrong.
Oh, it's like it is like the most inefficient thing in the world.
It's like I don't know. There must be a reason because they've been doing it this way forever. But with the group things, why not just call one group? Like nobody needs to get up unless you're in that group. Just like have a section like designated, like a box. Your group A, your group B. You know, box them off or something. Like there needs to be a better way.
Well, see, Southwest does it in a really stellar way. I actually like the way they do it because you're in group A 1 through 60, and even the 1 through 60 is branched out by these five. Yeah, so
they have like little. They do that then.
They
have
do
it,
like
and then line and where you're supposed to stand, and you're out of the way. Yeah, I've seen that actually.
So they did it.
Yeah. So okay, so somebody's figured it out. The other thing is, why not load the back of the plane first?
Well, so that's another good point, right? It's because unless you are, so there was I think I'll find it after this. There's a whole study on this exact thing, that the fact that we board in the most inefficient way possible. And for the most part, like Southwest, there's not assigned seating. right? You go on based on what order you're in. You know what I mean? And so you can go in, you sit where you want.
So people want to sit in the front because then you get off the plane faster.
If you do have assigned seating, I'm 100% in your camp now. You know what I mean? If you have assigned seating, then these just go to the back of the plane.
Most of the flights we take are assigned seating.
Yeah.
But they always load like the front people first, and then they're in the way, like you said. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Load the people in the back, and then work your way forward. And guess what? At the end of the day, everybody's on the plane the same amount of time if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you went in first and you're in the front, then you got on early
and waited forever.
And then you sat there while everybody else got on. And then when the plane lands, you're going to get off first.
Yeah.
And it's going to go vice versa.
Opposite. Yeah.
So everybody ends up on the plane the same amount of time.
I know.
So what does it matter?
I know, and we need to redesign the plane. It needs to open from the sides. You know what I mean? So you could just like load it all at once.
No, the seat that you're sitting in the waiting room, it just gets plucked up with a crane and put on the plane.
Bro, you're not totally wrong, bro. I've talked about this, dude, is having removable fuselages, so where you actually board while you're in the airport, and then it just goes and it grabs you and off you go.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would be. All right, one more.
All right, it's yours. I'm out.
Actually, unfortunately, I have a billion left, but I don't have to do them all.
You better pick your best one.
Okay, I'm looking. Let me see. Oh, dude. Oh.
Dang, you really did make a list.
I did. I don't like it when people talk on the phone in public really loud.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is when they put the other person on speakerphone and they're just walking around the store, just laughing and just having a big old thing. And I'm like, it wouldn't bother me as much if the other person was physically here with them. Why does this bother me so much? Like this is quite literally a pet peeve I have that I feel really bad about, because I'm like, and there's one more pet peeve. There's a lot more, but there's one more that I also feel bad about, because it's kind of like I feel like it's like a high and mighty thing on my part. And I don't like that part about myself. But when these people are speaking into their phones, I wouldn't have a problem if the person was here. For some reason, I'm very bugged that they're on the phone. That's so irrational. Why does that bother me? The other one is poor grammar. Like, I don't like, dude, THEIR is possession.
Yeah.
THERE is over there.
Yeah.
THEY apostrophe RE is they are. Why in the world is this so complicated? Like, why? And it seems to be like getting worse and worse and worse. Like if you have no idea, then you at least have a 33% chance of guessing it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so what
There's
is
the reason why you and I have that joke of thanks, professor.
Yeah.
Because like anytime you do this, anytime I've like texted you and my grammar has been off for whatever reason, I blame the
autocorrect,
the ducking
piece
of shot autocorrect. And you'll be like, and you'll correct it or whatever. You'll send back like an asterisk and then the right way to say it. No, thanks, professor.
No, but I'm doing it just to razz you.
Yeah.
I
mean, maybe even being married to an English teacher is part of that too.
Well, I don't know if it is. I mean, it might be, but I've always held. Maybe that's what it is. But honestly, grammar's always been sort of a big thing for me. And I remember when I was in 5th or 6th grade, I had an English teacher who. We were learning the differences between all the theirs, but also people still spelling stuff wrong, right? People are spelling the possession version as THIER, and he gave this rule. He's like, all 3 of them have the word "the" in it. Just remember that. And it's like, it sounds stupid, but that stuck with me. And now just memorizing which one's possession, which one's, over there, and which ones they are. Just come on. It's just like, I don't know what my problem. And it's not just that too.
There's a bunch.
It's when people see that they like, oh dude, I did that so good. It's like, no, you did that well, man. You know what I mean? Like the adjective is well for verbs. Like what's happening? And it's that's what I mean.
I probably did that tons of times. Then I never thought of that one.
I feel bad about this one. Like it's because I can't shake it for some reason. It's just and it's not like I judge. I swear I don't. But it's one of those like, come on, that's wrong. You did it wrong. You did it wrong again.
Well, that's good. You care for the language.
I do. Yeah. Well, and maybe you know what maybe that's what it is. I like to write. I like words.
Yeah.
I like stringing words together in a fashion that's enjoyable, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
I do it really good.
You do it great. Really good. Oh man, Well, that was a fun one.
Yeah,
that was a fun one.
See, it was lighthearted.
I was kind of worried when I first thought of like, hey, if we talk about our pet peeves, I feel like it's just going to be like this negativity.
Yeah,
like the whole thing. I didn't want the vibe to be, I don't want any of our podcast vibes to be like negative in any way. But again, with it being pet peeves, it does feel like it's a lot more personal than it's just people being bad people or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm also willing to bet that there was a ton of people listening going, oh, totally, like out loud in their car or while they're watching.
Let's invite the audience to, if you're on the YouTube video.
Yeah, give us your pet peeves.
I still don't know. Is there ways for people on the audio only podcast to leave comments and stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but
I think they can leave ratings. If you have pet peeves, give us 5 stars. Unless it's a 10 out of 10 system, then give us 10. Anyway, but yeah, leave some pet peeves. I'd love to hear some pet peeves that maybe didn't get discussed today.
Somebody just said out loud, my pet peeve is people fishing for 5 stars.
Yeah.
Somebody just said that out loud.
My pet peeve is plugs when content creators do hashtag ads,
shameless
hashtag
plugs.
Plug, hashtag, check out glimpse.me/Imp And Skizz. So you can be part of our next pre-stream podcast.
Because you're going to like it.
Yeah. Not pre-stream. It's a stream of pre-podcast recording. I don't even know how to call it that. Anyway, we're live as we set up the podcast. You guys heard it in the beginning.
Yeah, do it.
Go check it out.
Okay. Gosh. I'm going to flip my phone over because I have more, but I don't want to cover.
No, we'll cut it off.
We did it. We did well.
We're in one of those days where we're going to record multiple podcasts.
Yeah,
we're gonna peel back the curtain a little bit. Skizz is going out of town for a bit, so we're going to record multiple podcasts today to kind of bank them up so that we can stick to our
Friday
release, which we've nailed 36 weeks
This is 36.
in a row.
This is 36.
It's awesome, man. Good job, dude.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting better and better.
We're going to keep working it. All right. You guys are amazing. And check out Glimpse, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you guys later.